Buns, Burgers, Big Ideas listeners, welcome back to this week's episode. Eric is here.
I am.
He's always here.
Always. You can't get rid of me.
No, I really can't.
No matter how hard you try. Yep.
But today we have another special guest. We have Amy Scott joining us.
Special guest.
Yes, special guest. Well, they're all special.
Yeah. I like it.
Amy is one of our director of operations. Can you tell us a little about yourself and your journey?
Sure. My name is Amy Scott. I've been a director of operations for going on 2 years now. I started in this organization probably 6 years prior to that. Have worked for McDonald's for, it seems like all my life now, right?
Because you just had a birthday, too.
Right.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. But yeah, so always wanted to be, always going up in my role. Didn't have very much success through the corporate McDonald's, but came over to this organization, and Eric was so gracious to give me a chance.
It's all you.
No. No, Amy, honestly, you've done a lot over the past few. Well, it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy because it does.
It is crazy.
It feels like just time is flying, right? Time flies when you self-rise.
Yeah. Right,
like to
absolutely.
Say. Yeah. But no, you worked your butt off, Amy. You worked your butt off, and the results that you had and the passion around people, you did it yourself. This wasn't given to you at all.
Yeah. At some point you take a time out and you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what am I not doing to get ahead? And I think I did that when I came over to this organization and knew what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And said, okay, this is what needs to change. And these are the results I need to get to feel comfortable feel comfortable in myself to go to that next role. So confidence in myself to do it.
I remember one of our first conversations, if not our first conversation. You honestly, at that point, I remember it being, I'll take whatever role you have for me because I'm just here to prove myself and to you and to the organization. And you've done nothing but prove it to all of us. So kudos to you and everything you've done over the past 6 years. It's really impressive, and I'm glad to have you on our team, especially in a leadership position. So you mentioned your attitude towards this, and the clip that you shared with us honestly reflects around a lot of the leadership and the attitude towards leadership. So we'll have the clip, and then maybe you can tell us a little bit about why you're sharing it with us. So,
sure.
All right.
44 stacked. You're supposed to know your jobs. Campbell, you're playing selfish show-off football. Hold your man down.
Don't you single me out like that. What, you think I'm stupid or something?
Listen, I'm the team captain, and I don't need you up on my face all the team captain. All right, man, listen. I'm Gerry. You're Julius. Let's get some particulars and just get this over with, all right?
Particulars?
Yeah.
No matter what I tell you, you ain't gonna never know nothing about me.
Hey, listen. I ain't running any more of these 3 days, okay?
Well, what I got to say you really don't want to hear, because honesty ain't too high up on your people priority list, right?
Honesty? You want honesty? All right, honestly, I think you're nothing. Nothing but a pure waste of God-given talent. You don't listen to nobody, man. Not even Doc or Boone. Shiver push on the line every time, man. You blow right past them. Push them, pull them, do something. You can't run over everybody in this league. And every time you do, you leave one of your teammates hanging out to dry. Me in particular.
Why should I give a hoot about you? Huh? Or anybody else out there? You want to talk about a waste, you the captain, right?
Right.
Captain's supposed to be the leader, right?
Right.
You got a job?
I have a job.
You been doing your job?
I've been doing my job.
Then why don't you tell your white buddies to block for Rev better? Because they have not blocked for him worth a plug nickel, and you know it. Nobody plays, yourself included. I'm supposed to wear myself out for the team? What team? No, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna look out for myself, and I'm gonna get mine.
See, man, that's the worst attitude I ever heard.
Attitude reflect leadership, Captain.
All right.
Welcome back. That was a clip from Remember the Titans. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. So what spoke to you about it, Amy? What about this clip specifically did you like?
Yeah, I think in this clip it shows you a lot of where the leadership, the boys on the team that are leaders, right, aren't being the leaders. And they wanted to point out the fact that if you want things to change within your team, then that leadership has to be stronger. So action reflects leadership. And if we don't have strong leaders, then we won't get the action that we need.
I love the part where like they're calling each other out, right? Like that one.
They're going back and forth.
Yeah, when we were listening to it, like they're calling each other out, and they're like, "You're not, you're not, you're not," and he's like, "But I am the leader," and they're just like they're bantering back and forth. But at the end of it, I think they both kind of realized they need to take a little bit more accountability in their own leadership style in order to get the results they're looking for.
Yeah, and actually towards the end of the movie, they resolve those conflicts and they're all good. So clearly this conversation that we just saw helped them get to that point. Attitude reflects leadership and action reflects leadership. In your experience, how does attitude help define your leadership style?
Well, you see it all over, right? You see it within yourself. You see it within the restaurants, right? If you don't have good culture, if your leadership doesn't bring out that good culture, you don't have a good team. They won't follow you without that culture in the restaurant. When you have a positive culture and a positive leadership, the people want to follow you no matter where you lead them, whether it's within the four walls of McDonald's or just in life itself. So I think no matter what you do and where you're at in the point of your life, leadership has to always be there at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I was watching the clip too, it resonated with me as far as like what I think you want for people. Like you see the best in people that they don't always see for themselves. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you see people and how you wish people just believed in themselves? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I always look back at my own experiences with that. I always want people to do, you see the potential in every single person, and not everyone sees that in themselves. Mm-hmm. Maybe I like to see that in others because that was kind of how I was, and maybe no one else saw that in me up until this point. But I look at potential leaders and make them want to do more and make them want to pull it out in themselves in order to do that.
Yeah, because you've always held a really high standard, but it's hard for people to see that they can achieve those goals. But you have a way of just exciting people, I guess, around some of those things and bringing out the best in people. How did you learn those traits? Because it doesn't come natural for most people. Like, let's face it, it just doesn't.
It doesn't. And I don't, it's just something in me.
It's hard to brag about yourself.
Yeah, it is hard to brag about myself. But I sit I don't even sit in front of the mirror. My one thing I like to say to my GMs is, do you believe? Do you believe in this goal? Do you believe that you can do it? Because if you don't believe in yourself and the goal, you'll never be able to achieve it. And so when people tell me, well, I hope to get to this or I hope to do that, I say, we don't run businesses off of hopes and dreams. We have to believe.
I love it.
We have to believe. So when you say, I believe, you sit taller, your shoulders go back, and then when you say that enough within yourself, then you believe in it and you start achieving goals.
It's funny because both of you, I feel like I've said like, if I hit this or if I get this, and you guys are both like, no, when you hit this, when you hit that goal, when you hit that target, and so it's very apparent in both of your guys' leadership styles too.
Yeah. So you talked to Amy a lot about instilling and getting them to believe in their goals. But regardless, some people will just tell you that they believe. How do you genuinely know that somebody really wants what you're looking for them to achieve? Because I'm sure there's been plenty of times. I mean, let's face it. I've had plenty of times where it's like, ooh, that's going to be tough, but I'll give it a good old try.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see the excitement in their face, their eyes light up when they really start to believe it, and it just resonates. And it's not always something that they can see black and white, but all of a sudden you'll see it, and it'll dawn on them, hey, that's exactly what they're talking about. So they might start out at the bottom level at leadership. When they start believing and they can see the consistency within themselves and their team believing in them, then their leadership will evolve to the next level. And then you can see them grow. And I think that's really what I enjoy about being in this role is I can see people evolving from maybe that lower level leadership to the higher level leadership. I really love watching my GMs and my shift leaders growing and evolving as leaders.
Yeah, and I think just that transformation from level 1 to level 2, right? Like
We've talked a lot about
huge
that, yeah.
jumps with people just being able to, like, they work for you because they want to, not because they have to.
Yeah.
And that's what I see a lot of your team is they work for you because they want to work for you, regardless of what those goals might be.
Right.
And if you don't know Amy, she set some really high targets, but what she does do is she's allowed and help people achieve those things, even in the face of adversity. So, I think it's like that iceberg thing. You only see the tip of it, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of work that's done behind the scenes. You talked about building the shift manager column. We're about to walk into a really hard 6 months of shift leader internal verifications and really helping our shift managers go from good to great. What excites you about that?
Oh, everything excites me about that one.
I think we're all excited.
Just seeing those shift leaders growing and watching them build their confidence, because a lot of it is about their confidence and maybe not thinking that they have the right answer, but working with them and giving those honest conversations, that honest feedback to them, because honestly, at the end of the day, they want to know how to be better people, how to be better leaders, and they want to do better for us. But if we don't give them that honest conversation, that honest feedback, they just won't be able to grow. So everything about the next 6 months excites me.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because it goes back to even the clip, right? Where, what was it? Julius was pointing out, Gerry, you can't, or you're not, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what we're about to do with a lot of our shift managers. So how do we make sure those conversations are fair and honest and consistent? Because I'm going to tell you, people don't always like hearing that they can't.
Yeah. I think just telling them, or not necessarily just telling them, but showing them and having them help us give them themselves feedback. Everyone's hard on themselves, but when they hear it and then when they see it black and white, they can almost, and then give them a couple tips. It's not just saying you're doing bad, but giving them tips on how to do better. Like, hey, did you try this? Or did you ever think about maybe just tweaking just a little bit of this? And then they understand, oh yeah, that might make sense. Let me try that.
Balanced feedback, yeah.
Yeah, and it's tough because when you're in a restaurant, for those of you that are working in the restaurants, you know where I'm going with this, right? Like it's working in a silo, right? Like you don't get to see the other successful restaurants as much, but we get the privilege of walking around all these different restaurants, seeing different people, seeing success stories. So how do you get them to see that big long-term picture, right? While having the consistent conversation around, hey, we want you to be successful. I know we've had several conversations with leaders who, or general managers or shift managers where they've just been beaten up and people don't believe in them, or all of a sudden they just don't believe in themselves, right? Because they're constantly hearing that. So as somebody who's a leader of this organization, how do you maintain that positivity? I know we talked a little bit about relationship building and influence and accountability, but like you have to be all of that.
Sometimes those conversations are a little bit tough, and some days it's tougher to have that sunny, that bubble personality all the time. But showing them that you can, and sometimes it might just be the fact of rolling up your sleeves and working side by side and just giving them the show and helping them with that and telling them that you believe in them. It helps them want them to do more for you and show you. So then the next time I walk into the restaurant, they're like, look what I did. So it's always fun to, maybe you didn't have a good conversation with them the first time around, but then them working on everything that you've showed them. And then when you come back in, they want you to see it.
They want to show you, hey.
Yeah. So that's the fun part for me. That's
cool.
the fun part, that I can go to each restaurant and actually do that. So, I really enjoy that side of my role.
It's true. I love when that happens. I love
too.
when people come to you and say, "This is my results," or "Did you see?" or what? And it's like, "Oh
they're
my God,
being proactive.
Yeah.
From maybe one hard conversation, they're like actually taking stock and being like, I can't wait to show Amy this or Eric this the next time they come in. And I was going to mention something too earlier. We talked about this launch with the shift manager verifications, and my initial thought was, oh, people are going to hate this, right? And exactly what you're talking to Amy about is, what do you there's going to be pushback on this.
Yeah.
So how do you have this, how do you keep this positive mentality during that? And I think it's just that. People who are naturally bubbly can, I don't want to say spin it, because it's not a spin.
Yeah.
This is a benefit to you.
Yeah.
And it's just going to maybe take some time for them to see it. But as long as we're showing our hand, hey, we believe in you as a company, as a director, we believe in you. Let us help you. I don't know. I have to feel like that's going to push the needle for them as far as.
Yeah. And I think that's what made the difference for you, Amy, is not so short-sighted in some of the results, right? Because people are going to have bad days, bad shifts, bad like weeks or bad moments in time. But I don't think that you, as the leader of our organization, have gone and said, "I'm going to judge you by your worst moment," right? Like who
who does that?
Oh man, that was what's that guy from that one Apple? Ted Lasso. Where Ted Lasso said, right? Like it just, I hope you don't judge me by my worst day. Right. And I think you've done a really nice job of that. Amy, you've done a really nice job of not judging people by their worst day. And I think as a leader, right, that resonates and that reflects. And over time, you start to build those relationships because they know that you're not so hot-headed as maybe other, managers have been in the past. Because I wouldn't necessarily call them leaders. I know I used to be really hot-headed. So,
manager.
Yeah.
What?
No.
Well, I think it's important to also understand that everybody has a bad day. So walking in and not just judging people, but building those relationships with the people and, hey, what's going on today, or what can I help you with first, and make sure that they understand that you're not just there to
yell at them,
give them a grade, whatever, but it's to help build on what they're trying to do.
That's emotional intelligence right there, and I love emotional intelligence.
EIQ
That's
guy right here.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. I should honestly,
This was great. Thank you so much for sharing that clip with us. I know for me, it really brought back some time, right? Like I don't think I've seen that movie in a while, but the clip was good. I think being able to have those conversations with our team and building those relationships, just attitude it has a huge impact on who we are and what we do.
Yeah.
You heard it. Bring the weather. Listen, learn, lead. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.